Hello, good evening, folks. How are you today? Hope you'll be having a grand time, especially with Nigeria just recently doing its 60th anniversary celebrations of independence, October 1st, that was. Hope you all had a great time that weekend. Hope you had quite a few parties to attend. Maintain social distance, of course, because remember, COVID-19 is still real and it's safe to be safe. A lot has been happening in Nigeria in recent times. A lot of people have had one thing or the other to say on the issue of SARS. Yes, so what is SARS to begin with? SARS is actually the Special Anti-Robbery Squad inaugurated by the Nigerian Police Force to tackle armed robbery or violent crimes, basically. A lot of people have misunderstood it. A lot of people truly don't understand what it is. But I'll read to you from Wikipedia, that is basically what SARS stands for. So the Special Anti-Robbery Squad is a Nigerian police unit under the Force Criminal Investigation and Intelligence Department, headed by the Deputy Inspector General of Police, Anthony Olizi. Now, SARS was formed in 1992, and SARS was formed by a former police commissioner called Danladi Midenda, Senior Danladi Midenda. And the major reason why SARS was formed was simply because a colonel, a serving colonel in the Nigerian army, Colonel Rindan, was shot and killed at a police checkpoint. Not a new thing, if you tell me, if you might ask. Yes, we know. It's not a new thing. A lot of people have had one thing or the other to say about extrajudicial killings, police killing people at checkpoints. But at this point in time, when SARS was inaugurated by Senior Danladi Midenda, it was actually because a lot of policemen had actually taken off from the streets. Nobody, could identify them anymore. They were scared and worried simply because the military had come out, and the military were taking it upon themselves to deal with any policeman that they found on roads because the army colonel was killed. So, Midenda, trying to be as innovative as possible under the circumstances, decided to start a special unit to deal with anti-robbery. Why? Because there were no cops on the road. When he started it, they were supposed to monitor police chatter and respond as quickly as possible to anti-robbery in the state of Lagos. Now, a lot of them, 15 of them, as a matter of fact, judicious officers, strong officers who knew what they were doing, were actually acting very well. So they gained a record of being effective. Now, validation for them to actually set up more of those types of units to tackle anti-robbery all over the country. So several more of those units were formed. So you now have the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad, you now have the State Anti-Robbery Squads as well. But since the inauguration of SARS, there has been quite a lot of criticism of SARS. Humiliation of people on the streets, all sorts of stop and search. If you have dreadlocks, ear piercings, tattoos, you're young and you drive a flashy car. So I don't know if we should call that driving while young, or is it driving a flashy car while young? You were stopped and allegedly harassed by SARS. It has never happened to me, to be honest with you, never. But I have had quite a few encounters with officers of the Nigerian police. Now, because of those types of encounters I've had with officers of the Nigerian police over the years, at some point on the 1st of July 2011, I think I'll just bring that onto the screen just to confirm what it is. If you look to the bottom of your screen, you can actually see it there where it's written. You know that I started a group called For a Better Nigerian Police on the 1st of July 2011 to try to see if I could get like-minded people together to have a discussion around the issue of the Nigerian police, to see how we could cooperate with other citizens of the country, discuss or have a platform to discuss with the Nigerian police on what we thought were the ills and what were wrong with the Nigerian police. But since then, it seems as if things have gone progressively worse. As of that time that I formed that group, I had a discussion with a senior police officer. Presently, he's an assistant commissioner of police. And he was in a tactical squad at that time that was meant to be like a PR unit where you could actually make complaints about, whatever it was that the officers of the Nigerian police were doing wrong on the streets of Nigeria. His name is ACP Abayomi Shogunle. At that time, he was not an ACP. I think he was a DSP or something. And he was very, very responsible. He was, as a matter of fact, a sweet guy. Because I called him and I was telling him about how a police officer was actually harassing people at a checkpoint somewhere in Surulere, Lagos. And when he felt that he was not getting the type of response that he wanted from people, he was actually shooting into the air. Like I said, they were quite responsive. So I'm sure they dealt with the issue appropriately as at that time. But thinking that things will improve, especially with the fact that they set up a tactical unit to deal with complaints from the citizen, it has not. It has actually grown progressively worse. Presently, there's actually a campaign going on, protests, both on social media and people actually taking to the streets to say end Sars. I have personally seen quite a few things on social media in terms of videos of different encounters with officers of the Nigerian Police Force, particularly the SAS officers. We are going to play you one or two of those videos. We hope you don't find them disturbing, but it is what it is. These are matters or issues that need to be addressed at this critical point in time in Nigeria's history. Why? Because Nigeria is not supposed to be an evolving nation. Nigeria is supposed to be a mature nation, especially considering the fact that there was an amalgamation since 1914. So we all have had an idea of what it is that we should do to each other. We even had a civil war. So why exactly should officers of the state who are paid by citizens of the state be using the same uniforms and the same weapons that are given to them and paid for by the citizens of the state, including their salaries? Why should they undergo such torture, such harassment, and such humiliation? We'll be right back after you view this first video that we're going to play for you. We hope you don't find it disturbing. Parental advisory, please.
Only for somebody to waste my son. There was no war. There was no fight. There was no riot. Not that the boy was involved in any fracas. Not that he was stealing.
So, people are crying. Loads of people have lost their children. Loads of people have lost their valuables to members of SARS. Now, nearly 3 months ago, there was actually a report, both by the international community, international human rights watchdogs, and also by some news media. One of them was Al Jazeera, if I'm correct, where it was stated that 2,700 people were killed in the last few months. That was from July backwards during the lockdown in Nigeria by members of the Nigerian Police Force during a lockdown. Almost 3,000 people lost their lives. Why? The lines are open. The comment section are open. You can join us, send in your comments, and let us hear your own view when it comes to the Nigerian police while we are having this discussion. So, 2,700 people are killed in the span of 3 months. I didn't say it. It's written. It's there for people to see. So if there was no lockdown, how many people lose their lives on the average on a monthly basis to the Nigerian police? There's a lot of violence in Nigeria, we know, especially when it comes to the issue of Boko Haram, when it comes to the Kaduna Abuja expressway, a lot of kidnapping, a lot of torture, a lot of stuff going on there. But still, at the same time, the police is supposed to protect you. But nowadays, people seem to be more afraid of the police than actually being afraid of criminals. Some of the policemen, if you see them, as a matter of fact, the way they dress, you actually be scared. When you look at them, like you're wondering, because they come out in mufti, they come in a small, tight pack, they ride in buses, like commercial buses, and then they just hop out of the vehicle, sometimes they move in vehicle, and then they stop cars and then they're pointing guns in broad daylight. What exactly does that mean? Is there no decorum anymore when it comes to the Nigerian police? I remember growing up when I was a kid. I'm sure there's a friend of mine that's watching this. I'm sure she knows or she's had close contact with the person I'm about to mention. His name was Blaise Abdul Bako. He was a policeman, a fine gentleman, an exceptional gentleman. If you know the former IGP of police as well, Alhaji Muslim Smith, an exceptional gentleman. There's so many of them that we know. I have a couple of friends that are police officers as well, and I'm sure a few of them are watching this as well. And even they are worried when it comes to seeing policemen on the streets holding guns. What kind of training do they give them? What kind of education do you require before you can join the Nigerian police? A lot of these things need to be discussed. A lot of people need to start asking some very strong questions when it comes to the Nigerian police. People are saying end SARS now. Is SARS truly the problem? Or the Nigerian police actually needs to be totally overhauled? You go into a police station and they tell you that bail is free. Is it actually free? You have no idea. You don't know. But I'm not going to tell you that I've had to pay at any police station for anything because apparently I don't have to go to a police station for any reason in forever. In Nigeria, especially. I haven't had any reason to. So I can't say particularly that I know. But the thing is, there are reports out there. People talk. People say stuff. And people are saying that bail is not free. Even though it's written boldly when you walk into a police station, it's pasted on the wall over there. That bail is supposed to be free. And then they tell you that you still have to pay something. You're on the streets and they tell you you have to pay something. Now, I used to be of the opinion that you had to have committed the crime in the first place for the police to be able to say, you know what, something has to give. But then in a lot of cases, it doesn't seem so, because sometimes they happen to ask you for things that are not real. So you have the VIO, the Vehicle Inspection Official. You have the Federal Road Safety Corps. You have the Nigerian Police, and they all have their own individual functions. Are the police supposed to ask you for your documents? Are the police supposed to ask you for extra tire, fire extinguisher, and things like that? Yes, you must have them. They are necessary for you to have in the vehicle at every point in time. But is that the work of the Nigerian police? The Nigerian police are understaffed. There are roughly maybe about less than 300,000 of them at any point in time. In a country of 200 million people, grossly under-policed society. And then you now find that 80%, that might be an exaggeration, but pardon me for exaggerating, probably because of the number of them that I see acting as private bodyguards for individuals, from clerics to political office holders to union chairmen having a police convoy, police details as bodyguards. Private civilians who can afford it hire Nigerian police as bodyguards. Now that's deeply disturbing. Deeply disturbing, especially under the circumstances when you find that the nation is under police. Why would you have them acting as security detail? If you go to any government house all over the country, you can see the amount of policemen at the gates of each one of those government houses. When you see the convoy of the governor, you can see the amount of policemen that are following them. What exactly is going on? If you don't create an opportunity for criminals to operate. You probably don't need to have that many security detail following you around. I mean, who pays for them? What is their primary duty? Why do we have to keep going over the same issues over and over and over again? And a country as endowed as Nigeria, not just in mineral resources, human resources, we have some of the best brains in the world, and we can't seem to figure it out. Why? I don't find it amusing. There are several videos that we could have played for it tonight, but we're not going to play them simply because they are truly deeply disturbing, where people are being shot at. There was a particular one where an officer actually shot at a group of people who were saying that somebody was arrested, he came to arrest somebody in his house simply because they were chasing a group of boys who were playing football during the lockdown. And they couldn't catch any of the boys. They went into one of the houses that the people ran into. And then they picked up somebody that was not wearing a shirt, thinking that he was one of the people playing football. But even if he was amongst the people playing football on the streets after the lockdown, there was no excuse for any one of them to have opened fire. It's on social media. People are throwing a lot of videos on social media. You have to thank everybody that is able to take, to look at themselves, have the guts to actually record these things and put these things. Now, like I said earlier on, the lines are open. You can send in your comments and put your comments on the screen for people to see, for people to read. Please participate. Let's have this discussion on why the Nigerian police seems to be such a bother. Really, why? Why are they a bother? Why should people be more scared of the Nigerian police than being actually scared of criminals on the streets? A group of young girls were harassed recently, and they recorded it. Very, very courageous young ladies. I don't know how they managed to do it, but they did it. They actually were recording them right there and then. And they were even giving some lip. I don't know how, like I said, how they got the courage to do that, but they were actually doing that. I mean, that tells you a story. That just tells you that there's a lot of miscommunication, or should I say discommunication, between the civil populace and the Nigerian police. People don't even seem to respect the Nigerian police anymore, considering the fact that our quote, Frank Obama, who is the PRO to the Nigerian police, saying every single person in this country has a relative in the Nigerian police force. If you don't have a relative in the Nigerian police force, you have a friend of a friend who's in the Nigerian police force. You have a cousin, you have an aunt, you have an uncle, you have a brother, you have a sister, you have an in-law. There's always that 6 degrees of separation exists. So you always know somebody that knows somebody. So why is there this much distrust between people and the Nigerian police? We need to start talking about a lot of things that need to be addressed in Nigeria. A lot of people living abroad want to come home to Nigeria, but they can't. Why? Because of fear of stuff like this. It is scary. Very, very scary. We're not going to have a long show tonight, simply because we just wanted to quickly highlight this issue of the Nigerian police and Sars. So we're still going to be waiting for you. We can see quite a few viewers out there. So if you're watching and you want to join, please send in your messages, join the conversation, send a request in the comment section, and we would highlight whatever it is that you said. A friend of mine has made a comment, but I'm not going to post that comment. Her name is Sars. So Saratu, your comments, oh my goodness. Yes, I can understand how you feel about the Nigerian police and what's going on. It is scary. It is not amusing. And something needs to be done as quickly as possible. The criteria for joining the Nigerian police has to be addressed. You can't have just anybody joining the Nigerian police. There have to be background checks. They have to do due diligence before they start the recruitment. I don't know why there doesn't seem to be any clarity on what type of due diligence is done before people are recruited into the Nigerian police. Probably 9 out of 10 of Nigerian police officers that you meet on the streets of Nigeria don't even know the law in actuality. They quote all sorts of stuff for you. And then you start to wonder, what are they talking about? In the country as endowed as Nigeria, with the amount of educated and brilliant people that we have, why? Now, I don't know if it's the education or if it's the case of the lack of proper training that makes them to adjust people the way they address them. It's unbelievable the type of things that you see happening, especially in broad daylight. What's happening to our country? Is there a lack of dignity? Is there a lack of self-respect? I saw a video yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm not going to play that video because I think it's actually abhorrent for you to see people actually assaulting police officers, regardless of what has happened. I can understand the pains of people, but this happened in Benin, in Edo State, where a group of boys were actually beating up a couple of Sars officers. These guys were armed. One of the policemen was even saying that his phone was stolen. Yeah, right there and then. And they were all armed. And then from nowhere, one guy came out, and I think maybe the police detained his car, took his papers and all whatnot. And there was a car blocking the road. And then this guy actually went ahead to assault the police officer. He was actually headbutting the police officer. You can't play that because we don't want it to seem like we're encouraging that type of behavior. That type of behavior is abhorrent. It should not be done. But when the people are pushed to the wall, what do you think will actually happen? People will fight back at some point. Definitely. That's the problem. So if the Nigerian police are not treating people with civility, what are we asking for? Are we asking for anarchy? And this doesn't seem to end with just the Nigerian police. You actually see the Nigerian customs harassing, immigration will do their own, Nigerian civil defense, whom they've actually armed now. So you don't seem to have enough funds to train the Nigerian police officers adequately. But you now set up a civil defense force, and then you actually now start arming the civil defense force. What training do those ones get? Really, what training do they get? It's shocking. People have to, like I said, really truly come out and speak about this. I'm glad the End SARS protest is going on. But should it be a case of End SARS is still the question. Or it should be a case of overhaul the Nigerian police force. We're going to play a few more, well, not a few more, probably just one more video for you. Right after this quick break, when we get back, you'll get to see the video. Hang on tight. Don't lose us because we don't want to lose you either. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly after this. Hello, folks. If you're just joining us, you're welcome to another edition of Just Banter. And today, it's an open panel. That means you can join the show wherever you are in the world. Just send in your comments, so you can even call us. The WhatsApp number is there for you to call. And we'll be glad to have you. We'll be glad to hear your comments. The topic today is police brutality in Nigeria. There are ongoing protests almost nationwide. People are asking to end SARS. The IGP, that's the Inspector General of Police, has said that they suspended the activities of SARS. They put up quite a few guidelines saying things that you should watch out for when it comes to Nigerian police. But we've seen and we've heard so many of this type of stuff over and over and over and over and over again over the years. They say bail is free. police is your friend. But is police actually your friend, considering the fact that a lot of people are complaining about the level of harassment that they get by police? Is police actually your friend when they see you with a tattoo and they think you're a criminal? Or they see you with dreadlocks and they think you're a criminal? Or you have ear piercings or even nose piercings? I mean, it's a free world. You can do that so far you do not go against the morals of the society you live in. But then you get harassed by the police. A lot of them go after those young men and they say that they are Yahoo boys. In a lot of cases without evidence, just on mere suspicion. And rather than doing the proper thing, taking them, charging them or whatever, they actually start harassment. In some cases that we've heard, issues of extortion. I can verify that to you. I've personally not experienced it. And I've not had any direct reports made to my humble self to state that anybody was actually extorted by the Nigerian police on trumped up charges of being a Yahoo boy. Now, for those in diaspora or non-Nigerians who are watching this who don't know what a Yahoo boy is, it's a euphemism for people who do online scams. Those are the people called Yahoo boys, a la Yahoo, what's in the yahoo.com, and all that. So it's stuck over the years. They call them Yahoo boys, they call them all sorts of names. But anyways, the police would harass you on mere suspicion that you're a Yahoo boy. We've seen a situation where a footballer in my beloved Kwara State, he was actually a player for Kwara United Football Club, where he was shot and killed by the police because they said he was a Yahoo boy. He was actually a football player. Football players are known to like to dress down, have all sorts of fantastic hairstyles. A lot of them wear jewelry, ear piercings, stuff like that. I mean, for young people, that's expected. Why not? But he got shot, he got killed. Who knows what the truth is? But there's so many cases like that. I know about the efforts that Kwara United had made and are still making over the issue of that young man being killed. We know that there are quite a lot of people who are also making efforts, their own family members being killed, extrajudicial killings by police officers. Nobody seems to be able to explain why these things happen in Nigeria. Nobody truly seems able to explain. We can assume that it's the bad training or poor training, so to speak. Let's not call it bad training. Let's say it's the poor training. Is it poor remuneration that actually augments it? Or is it simply a case of our society has totally broken down and nobody is afraid of the law anymore? Because people are afraid of the law. Why would policemen be killing people? They're supposed to be your friend, quote unquote. That's what they say. That's what's written everywhere. Police is your friend. Now, we're going to show you a video that we're talking about much earlier on, about some young, courageous ladies who had the police badge into their apartment and they were being harassed. Now, like we said earlier on, parental advice. So please, if you know that you don't have the stomach to take some of the stuff we're about to show you, close your eyes, but don't leave the show. We'll be right back.
Criminals or something.
Shut up!
Hey, God.
Are you not screaming now?
I don't laugh. My air.
Is that the way you're supposed to address them?
Is this the way they're supposed to come into our house early in the morning?
What is in your house?
So we have seen it, pants and air.
Very courageous, wouldn't you say? Because considering the kind of fear that people have for the Nigerian police, a lot of people will not have been able to say a word. But these young ladies actually recorded the incident. They were actually giving back the lip to the police officers. But you could hear what the police officers were saying in the background. No warrants, no nothing. It's just a case of Maybe on suspicion, maybe they chased somebody in there, who knows? But still, at the same time, there was a lot wrong with that scene. Quite a lot wrong with that scene. We need to start looking at ourselves as human beings and start trying to treat ourselves with some certain level of decorum and decency. Should the Nigerian police start doing what they're supposed to do, which is preventing crime? They're actually taking the proper steps rather than police checkpoints and all that. People see different things happening in different parts of the world, but you don't necessarily have to have police checkpoints. It's only in cases of states of emergency that you see police checkpoints in different parts of the world. But in most cases, they do patrols. But those patrols are monitored closely. Those patrols are sanctioned from the police stations. So if patrols are sanctioned from police stations in Nigeria, are their superiors aware of the type of stuff that these guys get up to when they're on the streets? If they are aware, is it a case of they are the ones sanctioning what is happening? These are questions that need to be asked. But when they're going to be asked, I mean, there should be some answers. There are tons and tons and tons of stuff that I could read out to you online, everywhere, about what's happening with the Nigerian police. So if you want to, like I said earlier on, you can join the show, you can send us a message and let us know if you want to answer the question, end SARS now, because people need to speak out. People need to speak up. Now, if it's a case of end SARS now, please go online, use the hashtag end SARS now, and say something. If that's not the case, if you think it's a case of Nigerian police should be overhauled, then you can also do that. Use the hashtag and overhaul the Nigerian police. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be said. People need to be able to feel safe, both at home and on the roads. The Nigerian government needs to do something, all the way from the presidency to the state. There has to be a bit more clarity, a bit more accountability towards the people who are actually the ones feeling the brunt of this. They are the ones who are actually paying to have security, but they are the ones who are being intimidated by these same people that are being paid to provide them the security. Nigerians actually need to start reading what the Constitution and the statutes say. You need to know your rights. That is another end of that particular problem. But the fact that a lot of people don't know their rights, they don't even know how to address or engage a police officer when they meet one on the streets. Now, knowing your rights does not mean you have to be rude or you have to be aggressive. What it just basically means is it gives you the opportunity to be able to engage a police officer in a civil dialogue when you meet a police officer, either on the streets or in the police station. Respect begets respect. So probably if a lot more Nigerians show respect towards the Nigerian police, maybe the Nigerian police will look inward and then start showing more respect towards Nigerians as well. I don't know, it's just my thoughts, it's just my opinion. You know, a lot of people feel that when you say Nigerian police officer, the first thing that should happen to you is fear. It is something a lot of them have experienced, probably. That's why they say that. But why should you be afraid of the Nigerian police? Really and truly, why should you be afraid of them? Unfortunately, we are not going to be able to talk forever on this issue. We can only say the little that we can. We're hoping that a few more people will be able to send in their comments. Like I said, a few people have sent in their comments, but we can't post those comments because those comments are quote unquote aggressive towards the Nigerian police. So we are not going to post them. But people need to speak up. People need to say something. People need to let the whole world know what they feel about the Nigerian police. I'm sure if people speak out, the Nigerian police will look inward. The humans, just like yourself and myself, and the citizens of this great country called Nigeria. So they would look inwards and they will start to address the issues of the Nigerian police. Let's start doing something. A lot needs to change in Nigeria. Nigeria is a fantastic country. So many people want to come to Nigeria. Nigerians and other people from the diaspora, white, black, yellow, green, name it, whatever race. They've heard so much about Nigeria, they've seen great pictures of Nigeria, they've seen the potentials that Nigeria has, and they want to come to Nigeria. But without adequate security, nothing can happen. Nothing. You can have the most fantastic resorts, you can have the finest of roads, you can have the most beautiful airports, you can have the most beautiful hotels. But if you don't have security, you have nothing. I personally was hoping that when President Buhari became president, a lot of things would change in terms of security. But apparently that hasn't happened. Is it any fault of his? I have no idea. But is it the fault of Nigerians? Probably. Because like I said, if we knew our rights and we're able to engage in a civil dialogue, we should be able to get something to change. But we don't seem to be engaging in that dialogue so far. We just need to. Okay, so somebody else has said something. I'll just post that. So Lami Ashake says, end them, I beg. They are mismanaging the opportunities given to them. Well, true, because it is an opportunity for you to have employment. It's an opportunity for you to have a job. It's an opportunity for you to be able to feed your family. It's a much, much greater opportunity for you to be able to serve your fatherland or your motherland when you serve either in the Nigerian police or any of the other paramilitary units or the Nigerian armed forces. So why would they be mismanaging those opportunities? There's so many Nigerians looking for jobs. Well-trained, well-educated Nigerians, but they're not getting those jobs. A lot of them would truly have wanted or loved to join the Nigerian police force, but they are not, simply because of the image that the Nigerian police force has. Not a good image. It's not a good thing. The hashtag is on the screen. You can use the hashtag on social media, Sars. State whatever it is that you think is your opinion on the issue of ending Sars. Let people know what you think. But if that is not the solution, and you think the solution is the overhauling of the Nigerian police force, also do that. Make sure you make a comment. Let people know what you think. The more people that speak about it, the higher the probability that things will change and something will happen. Like I said earlier, this is not going to be a long show. I don't want to continuously do a monologue. But we're still going to end the show as we usually do, which is passing out our social messages. And our social messages always start with the issue of say no to rape. First, before I continue, I'd like to thank so many people who have sent me messages privately who have sent us messages privately to thank us for this campaign on the Say No to Rape campaign, because we're still on it. We're still fighting it. We're still trying to make sure that this pandemic ends, because like we say, 1 in 4 women in Nigeria before the age of 18 have gone through sexual abuse, i.e. rape, and also 1 in 10 young men before the age of 18. So it's a global pandemic, actually. It's happening everywhere, regardless of age, creed, color, profession. It's happening. A lot of women are experiencing abuse in offices, bosses taking advantage of them. A lot of lecturers are taking advantage of young ladies. All these are sexual abuse, and they need to stop. So please say no to rape. Use the hashtags on your screen, no excuse. Use the hashtag no to rape. Tweet something, put something up on Instagram, put something up on Facebook. You can even do a short video, 60 seconds, put it up on YouTube. Use the hashtag no excuse, no to rape, so that you can support this campaign. You could also go to YouTube and watch a video by upcoming singing sensation TY. Her Instagram handle is @TY official. You can also see her video there. It's also a form of support when you watch those videos. And then if you share them, like the videos, share them. Let people know that you're supporting the campaign against rape. It's very important. You can't have a healthy nation without healthy women. And that's a fact everybody knows. Raise a woman, you raise a nation. It is what it is. we need to start working very, very hard and seriously towards achieving that goal of trying to eradicate that vicious crime called rape. Now, remember, COVID-19 is still very, very real. As a matter of fact, in Ireland, I think they're going to go to level 5 now. They're probably going to shut down very soon. They're presently on level 3 because of the spikes all over the country of COVID-19. The same is happening in the UK. The same is happening in the United States as well. Really popular countries that you probably know. So a lot of people need to stay safe, maintain a social distance, 2 meters. That's what you're required to give whenever you're out and about, so that you can stay safe. Wash your hands as often as possible, and please, and please, and please, wear a face mask. One of the most reputable doctors in the world, who is also CEO of the CDC in the United States, has said that 90% of COVID-19 cases will not happen if only people wear masks. Now, do we need to tell you that President Trump recently caught COVID-19? He wasn't wearing a mask. Did you see how many people at the event he attended actually caught COVID-19 simply because they were not wearing masks? Try and stay safe. Wear a mask. Keep your family safe. Keep society safe. And let us all continue that campaign as well of end Sars, if that is the solution. But if not, let's overhaul the Nigerian police. As always, it's a pleasure coming online and having this great opportunity to interact with all you folks. Hope you have a great evening. Watch out for the show on Sunday, where we have a very cerebral lady who's going to be talking to us about brands, tourism, and Africa. Watch out. I'm not going to tell you her name, but I'm sure you won't want to miss it, especially if you have an interest in any of those 3 things: brands, tourism, or Africa as well. You all have a fantastic and great evening, and see you on Sunday. Good night.